Hey, how are you? Come in. If you want to follow me through here to the living room, this is where we're going to be having our conversation today. If you come in, want to sit on the sofa, there's a glass of water there. I'm just quickly going to lock the door and I'll be right back. Hello, Alice.
Hello, Ethan.
Are you ready?
I am, yeah.
So I'm just going to give you a quick breakdown on what this conversation is going to be today, if that's all right.
Of course, yeah.
So we're going to probably touch on some subjects that might be a bit sensitive. If they do, at any point, just turn around and go, I don't want to do this anymore. And we don't have to. We can sit and play a game on our phone or just have a chit chat until the performance is over. Is that okay?
That sounds good. Thank you, yeah.
Well, so I asked you a question on that video asking, how are you? I just want to know your opinion on that question.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because like I didn't think about it. I forgot that you asked. It's just a greeting, isn't it? Like it's sort of it's not a question anymore. But yeah, it's interesting that you pointed it out as a because like you don't think about it, do you?
I feel like when people ask it, you're like, if you can't be bothered, you just put, yeah, good you. Like it's just a common thing.
Yeah.
So I want you to remember that because we're going to come back to it at the end.
Okay.
So I want to make sure you're really comfortable. So have you got a drink or anything or a cushion, anything like that?
I've got a pillow and a...
No, I've got my cushion. Great. So I have two objects here. I have a Victoria sponge cake, which is this. And then I have £2. I'd like you to pick an object.
Gotta go for the cake.
So I'm going to be speaking about my nan for this story we're going to have today. And my nan was never initially, I think, a baker, but she just ended up being one. And I would go around to hers when I was about 8 years old. And as soon as I walked through the door, I could smell home. I could smell the oven on. And it was just a safe environment to be in. And when I was baking my cake this morning, I had that same smell of my nan's house. And it made me feel safe and content. And I would get in, I'd flick off my shoes, wash my hands, and I would run straight to her in the kitchen. So I knew that's where she would be. And in there, we'd have everything laid out ready to make the Victoria sponge cake. We would have the flour, the egg, the sugar, baking powder, absolutely everything. Start making it together, and she would always pass me the little wooden spoon. And I don't get why. And she always used to have the big one. So I don't know if it was like that whole relationship of like, I'm the older person, you're the younger one sort of thing. And we would make the cake, and we would always add a little bit more vanilla extract than we should. Because I had such a sweet tooth and I was such a fat kid. I was like, yeah, I'm more in Nan, me. That's what I would do. I would put the cake in the oven, and then I was sit in front of the TV. Now that seemed pretty normal, sitting in front of the TV, but it wasn't for me because my mum and stepdad brought me up as in you don't watch TV. It's very much a luxury in our house. So I used to watch VHS tapes. There used to be stuff that I wouldn't even heard of anymore. Like it was just really old programs. So when I used to go to my nan's, it was really good that I could watch TV and watch what I want to watch. And I used to watch Doctor Who because that was the thing that was on at the time.
My favourite.
Yeah, it used to be my favourite program when I was a kid. And I would watch that, and then we would hear the cake timer, like ping. And it wasn't just any cake timer, it's one of those really old ones every nan owned. We'd go back into the kitchen, we'd pull the cake out of the oven, and we'd get the little pin that you stick into the cake, stick it out to make sure it's cooked. If it was still runny, it would go back in, but if it was completely clean, we would put it to the side to cool down. While the cake's cooling down, we would whip up the cream and get the jam all ready. Once everything's prepared, we would put the jam on and put the cream on. And then she would get the knife, she would pass me the cake and say, I'm going to cut you the biggest slice of cake. And that's what she would do. She would give me a little spoon, and she would tell me to go and sit in front of that TV and eat the cake. That's what I did. I'm getting so fat after this. It's unreal. That's what I did. And it always resonates in me that this cake that was home, and it was always a memory. It's going to stay with me for the rest of my life. So I'm just wondering if you would like to share anyone that's impacted your life, or just a funny animal memory, absolutely anything. And if you don't want to, you don't have to.
Well, honestly, like the biggest loss I've experienced, because I've had family members die, and that's been awful. But the literally the worst death for me was my dog, Billy. And like, because he was like, I literally saw him as a brother because I had him all the way through my teens. Because I lost him last summer, and as you know, like I fell out with my brother, so it was kind of like Billy was my loyal brother. So yeah, that was like the worst experience of loss I've ever experienced. Because like a dog's always there for you, isn't it?
Hey, the dog's like I feel like the fact like your dog is the only family, like the dog's family, which is you, is the only family it ever really knows. Doesn't create many friends, so it always knows you more than anyone else.
Yeah.
You got a funny memory of that dog you would like to share?
Oh my gosh, why can't I think? I feel like there's so many and now I can't think.
Yeah, if you're not think of anyone just now, it's absolutely.
A little funny thing was like when he was a puppy at Christmas, like we had this like cuddly toy Santa, and my mum like she decorates the house like all Christmassy and lovely, and then she was adamant that the cuddly toy Santa would go by the fireplace. But like Billy, he'd go always go into the living room and like pull it out and take it, and then you'd have to chase him for it. And then sometimes like he'd be sat in the living room all nice and quiet, and he'd be like, and then he'd sort of give you a look to the side, and then if he'd see if you're looking or not, and as soon as you weren't looking, he'd run in and grab the cuddly toy Santa.
I love dogs. Honestly, I think dogs are the funniest characters ever.
Yeah.
Cats, any animal, they have such a character in them. I absolutely love them.
Yeah, they have like different personalities. It's like because we got a new dog, George, and I was worried that it'd be like, oh, we're replacing Billy, but they're just so different. Their personalities are so different.
I feel like when you do get a new dog, when one does pass away, you are always nervous about that. When Kane passed away, we got a new dog because we didn't want the other dog to become like the owner of the house because he was quite a dominant personality. So we got a dog called Maddie to replace, not to replace Kane, but like hopefully like keep Ronan in place. I was so nervous, and my mum was very much trying to treat her as we treated Kane. And it took ages for my mum to realise that this isn't Kane anymore.
Yeah.
Once she did come to that, she bonded with the dog quicker than because she used to say stuff like, Kane didn't do that, she shouldn't be doing it. So it took her a while to process it. I feel like each dog is completely magnificent and completely different way. You never replace anything, I think. I think it's just another aspect of your life when someone comes into it.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you for sharing that story with me. To reflect on these conversations that I've been having, I've been planting daffodil seeds.
Yeah.
So the conversation we just had is okay. We take a minute, well, just while I plant the seed, just as a moment of silence to reflect on what we've just been speaking about, because it is a touchy subject, talking about loss and death, but we're talking about it in a way that we remember them, but it can still leave you a bit on edge. So I'll just do that and then we'll carry on. So I'm going to come back to that question that I asked at the start of the video. and it can get diminished because I don't really say anything. I just bring you into this conversation. I'm going to ask you again, and this is time I actually mean it, and I hope you actually mean the response. How are you, Agnes?
In this moment, I feel really good. I feel really warm, and I feel really cared for. Before, if I was going to answer that question when I first came in, to be honest, I feel really stressed. But I feel like this moment is really like calmed me down, and yeah. So thank you.
Well, that's it. So before we completely say goodbye, I just want to make sure we're both in a really good headspace. So I'm just going to really ask, what's your plans at the weekend? Are you going to open a bottle of red? Are you going to open a bottle of white? Maybe have a bottle of vodka? Which one? Which is your bottle of choice?
Oh, it's got to be red. It's my go-to.
Oh. I don't know how you can drink red wine. Oh. I don't know I'm old yet, but then I'm the same age as you, so I'm like, I
love it.
I don't think I'm a wine drinker. Like, I am, like, in a casual way, but like, I don't think I ever got my way to go and have a bottle of wine tonight.
I can imagine you with a glass of wine, though.
Maybe one day when I'm 40s. But right now, I'm like, oh, give me the hard stuff. Give me
Oh.
So, if you're okay, we can leave this conversation here. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Ethan. That was really, really good. Well done. Good luck.